So the 2024 F1 calendar is packed with a record-setting 24 races. But it's not perfect. Here are 5 tracks I would love to see on the schedule. First up, it's been said many times before, and I'm going to say it again, Kyalami needs to come back to Formula 1. We need a race in Africa to truly make it a world championship. The last Grand Prix held here was back in 1993 and was slowly gathering dust until Porsche bought it back in 2014, adding some much needed remodels. The track is beautifully laid out with challenging corners and just enough elevation. My favorite part being the hairpin at the top of the hill. As recently as 2022, there were plans to put Kyalami back in the schedule. These plans were unfortunately delayed following accusations that the United States ambassador to South Africa said that the country has supplied arms to Russia after the invasion of Ukraine. The track is also not FIA Grade 1 certified. It can get there by adding more runoff or implementing the Tech Pro barriers. Hopefully these challenges can be ironed out and F1 can race in Africa once again. Next up, I have the Nrburgring. Although the Grand Prix track is tiny compared to the beautiful and brutally punishing layout of the original Nordschleifer, this track still brings a lot to an F1 race weekend. Formula 1 last raced here back in 2020 during the COVID year, so it's proven itself in modern day machinery. Turn 1 has the opportunity for a quick dive bomb and potential continuation of this battle with side-to-side racing continuing throughout Sector 1. Sector 2 and 3 are not the best for racing, but extremely fun to watch in qualifying format. And if you look further back past 2020, this track has hosted many bangers, especially under wet conditions. Think back to 1999 when a Stewart crossed the finish line in first place. And I believe this track is already FIA Grade 1 certified, so I think it's time to bring F1 back to Germany. Next up, we have the Sepang Grand Prix in Malaysia, known to many as hosting modern classics. This is where we saw the Multi-21 Red Bull drama and other fantastic races, most notably in 2001. This track is full of medium to high speed corners with slight undulation that is hard to see on the TV but can definitely catch out the drivers, most notably in turn 1 where it slopes down a little bit and in the final hairpin turn where it slopes away from the apex. And in Sepang there was always chance of wet weather. So if we return, probably better figure out those wet weather tires. Sepang, I believe I can speak for everyone. We miss you, and hopefully you'll be back on the schedule soon. So the past 3 tracks I mentioned were pretty much to be expected, but on this one I wanted to think a little more into it. If I were to remove one track from the current calendar, it would be Miami. If I had the power to do this, I would want to replace it with another US track. Thankfully, the US has so many purpose-built racetracks from Indianapolis to Watkins Glen, Laguna Seca, but I picked Road America, and hear me out. So this track is full of huge elevation changes and fast flowing. Romain Grosjean, who races it in IndyCar, said it's the spa of the US, which sounds stunning, sounds good. It's where you see some of the best overtakes of the IndyCar season. I think they would need to upgrade some of the facilities before they go there, like adding more grandstands and probably a better paddock. So the reason I didn't pick the other tracks is, let's start with Watkins Glen. It's too fast. There's not enough overtaking potential for it. It's really tight. It kind of reminds me of Zandvoort, which is not one of my favorite tracks. I think it's more suited for GT3 cars. Laguna Seca was a very close second, but I feel like Road America has a little bit more racing potential than Laguna Seca. For a lot of people, Indianapolis is a clear pick, but I feel like that track is so built for the 500. If you had just like the road course section, it feels like a shadow of the 500 because all the grandstands and everything are built around the main oval. And when you have the road course, it's not pretty. I mean, you do have the banking, but I don't think that carries it really to the next level. So that's why I picked Road America for my 4th spot. So the last track on my list is Fuji. I might be a little bit biased here because Suzuka is one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. But to be honest, I had to research Fuji a little bit more for this video. So F1 last raced there back in 2008. It's a beautiful racetrack with Fuji right in the background, hence the name. So what I saw on the hot lap is Sector 1 and 2 is extremely fast-paced, and then there's a more challenging, slower Sector 3. which I think is crucial for a racetrack to have a little bit of both. This track's closer to Tokyo too, which is always a plus. And like many tracks on this list, it is a magnet for wet weather racing. I think when Suzuka's contract was originally signed, Fuji and Suzuka were meant to switch off year by year. I'm not sure why this didn't end up happening, but I think there's definitely room for 2 races in Japan on the F1 calendar. The crowd in Japan is always fantastic, and I would highly recommend looking up the onboards from 2008 to show just how cool this racetrack is. Please let me know what tracks I missed and what you would put in your top 5 list in the comment section below. My name is Aiden. Goodbye.